I strongly believe that power shrugs done with moderate or heavy weights are far superior to lightweight shrugs, especially the slow and controlled squeezing style. But does that mean we should never do it? That is 100% worthless. In the past, I'd have said, forget about it. It's a complete waste of time. But these days, I see things a little bit differently. So allow me to analyze the light shrug from an objective perspective. But first, let me say that you don't have to do this to get massive traps. It's 100% optional. So let's talk about it. First of all, do not treat this as a main builder. Rather, as an accessory at the end, which means that you shouldn't be doing lightweight shrugs on intensity day. Treat it for volume after the main work is done. So you got in, maybe did some rack pulls, some rows, maybe even did some power shrugs right before. Okay, now you throw in the lightweight shrugs because you're completely fatigued and you can get more out of less weight. So it actually makes sense at this point because now the weights actually feel heavier and it's challenging you. Plus, you're finishing off those traps, getting that maximum burn and maximizing the total workload that your traps can handle. And of course, you're getting the strict movement pattern, so that's covered, even though it's not required, right? So you do it at the end when you're fatigued, or you include it within the workout itself, but still part of volume. So you do a set of power shrugs, and immediately after, you drop set it with strict form. Drop the load down. Scott Herman calls this cheat and recover. So let's say you load up 500 pounds, you go to failure or near it, right? Okay, no rest, drop it down to 3 plates. Now you do it strict. Does that make sense? Or you just grab some lighter dumbbells that are next to you. Do it that way, superset style. Make the lighter shrugs complement the main work. It's as simple as that. But don't use it exclusively. I would also say that this pairs well with neck training. If you go in to do a mini workout, either at the gym or at home, you're not going there to do heavy power shrugs or heavy rack pulls. It's just an extra little thing that you do on the side. So you can superset the neck training with lightweight shrugs, which will maximize the pump, and you're going to get a little bit of extra workload. So throughout the week, you're getting more. It's similar to those who make barbell rows their primary mass builder for the back in terms of strength and size. But then on the off days, they're doing lightweight rows with bands or cables to drive in the volume. They're rowing 5 times a week, but you're sparing the lower back. And that's another thing I want to talk about. Injuries. If you're snapped up, maybe you can't do heavy power shrugs for a reason. Maybe you can't do any deadlifts or rack pulls or block pulls. Maybe you're limited and you feel that you're not getting enough trap gains through indirect means. Well, this is where you throw in the lightweight shrugs because it's pretty much your only option at this point. So it's all about context. But what I would generally say is stick to the badass compound movements, the big ones, like your heavy block pulls, deadlifts, all that, your power shrugs, your rows. And then if you really need to, throw in the lighter shrugs. Doesn't have to be slow and controlled. You don't have to fucking squeeze for 5 seconds. Just get the extra volume, and that's it. It could be fast. It could be with super light weights. Just get the workload. That's it. So that's how I see lightweight shrugs in 2019. They're not worthless, definitely inferior, but we can still program it in a way where everybody's happy, where it's still win-win, where we're still ticking all the boxes instead of saying, you know what, never do this ever again. And one thing I forgot to mention is maintenance work. Let's say that you have good trap genetics, or you find that you can maintain your traps with these lighter shrugs and do that. You know what I mean? It's obviously easier to maintain that which was already built. It's the same thing for most body parts. The way that you got there is not the same way that you have to maintain, which is why a lot of people get lazy eventually. So that's another perspective too. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want more content like this, check out my yoke playlist, and I'll see you around.